Hey, another day, another hotel. It's officially the 30th of September 2017, as it's now gone midnight. If you're here to listen to me talk about work or programming or coding, just skip to the next episode. If you're here to listen to me talk about music, which I said I would like 2 episodes ago, then skip to like two-thirds of the way in. I've just come back from a gig, so I will get around to that. But tonight's episode is more of a personal one, which I said I would do last time, but I ended up still talking about like sites I'm working on. It got very work related. Uh, yeah, tonight's one is I'm calling it raw because I'm not wearing a hat. For the more observant of you, I've completely wash my face so there is no guy liner or no man makeup on, which I haven't wore since like my early 20s, but for some reason I was like, if I'm putting things on wherever you're watching this, YouTube or Facebook, I decided I wanted to make my eyes pop. uh, but why was I wearing it in my early 20s anyway? That's a whole other, that'll be another episode. But yeah, there's so many things I want to talk about tonight. One of them is I used to volunteer for a, a youth organization. You'll notice that I never mention like the names of companies or friends or colleagues unless someone explicitly says, "Yeah, that's cool, mention me." I won't do that. I'll just talk in vague terms. But yeah, I used to volunteer for them. I was sort of self-teaching myself like coding and programming and the whole website. So they brought me in to teach the kids how to like design a website, and some of them already knew HTML and things. See, I'm now talking about work again. We've gotten to that. We will get to music eventually. Uh, but it was really interesting because I got to sit in and listen to. They had like they were being taught about safety online and the precautions to take, and the fact that if you Snapchat something or if you post something, it's kind of there forever. Once it's digital and it's online, it can't be deleted. It's not in pencil, it's in ink. And yeah, we never had that. What am I, like 30? So I've grown up. Facebook's came out during my lifetime that I can remember. We used to be on MSN, and I kind of think, what did I used to. It's out there somewhere, probably. There's the reason I will never be Prime Minister. There's probably something that will come back to haunt me. Uh, but yeah, in all seriousness, whilst also doing that volunteer role, I volunteered teaching people how to like use basic computer and internet skills. It was at a local library. It was open to all age groups, but it generally attracted older folk. So that I was teaching them how to like use computers, turn the computer on, uh, use Microsoft Word, just general skills that I take for granted, like double clicking. That could be like a half an hour lesson. And the most advanced we got was like logging into Skype and like Skyping their grandchildren, which was cool because you got to see that they were getting something out of it. Uh, but it was also interesting to sort of have conversations with them, and I'm from the Zuckerberg generation where we kind of almost believe that everything you've got to be transparent, like who you are in work is who you are at home, is who you are with your friends, whereas they are from another generation where it's kind of you've got your work hat and then you've got your family hat, and then you keep them all separate. Whereas whether you're online or offline, we kind of grow up not living into that. Maybe some people my age do, but it's kind of how do you keep your LinkedIn separate from your Facebook, from your Instagram, from it's kind of everyone sees everything. And even if you don't post, it's yeah. So I don't know where I was going with this point. Uh, but yeah, I guess the fact that I've been to a gig tonight and I have had a few beers, so I'm intoxicated slightly. I've been stone cold sober in every single post apart from this one. But there is a part of me that's like, well, this is going online, so future employers will see this. Uh, it's out there. Will I post this one on LinkedIn? Probably not, but it will go on the Facebook, but it will be on YouTube. It's there to find, essentially, is the point that I'm mulling over. But hey, you you can't fight it, I guess. So yeah, went to a gig. I'm now going to talk about music. There's a transition there. That was the conversational transition. When I finally did get into to the gig, it was like a pop punk thing. Uh, Newfound Glory, a band that I used to love when I was like 16, 17. Still listen to them now, but here's a tip for bands. When you're going to see a band, you don't want to see the last 5, 6 years and all the obscure albums they've released. Uh, you want to hear the classics, and Newfound Glory had it spot on. We went to see them, and they played two albums back to back, every single song in order. The albums that we loved, Sticks and Stones and Catalyst, and I, for one, loved it. And it was also the first time that I've ever crowd surfed. So there was a guy near me. He was like, "I'm gonna crowd surf." This is right at the end. No one had crowd surfed during the whole gig, and I tried to pick him up to get it started and failed. It kind of crushed me. I was on the floor, but a group of us got together and he crowd surfed, and we didn't see him for half an hour. Then Newfound Glory left. They came back for their encore, and he was like, "You're next." He turned up again. He's like, "You're next. You're next." And they came on, and they played a really slow song, and everyone's about to lift me up. And yeah, so we waited. And then when it really kicked in, for one of the classics, I was lifted up. And yes, at the age of 30, I've obviously been in a mosh pit and things before. Not as dangerous as they look. You literally probably can't fall over because you're so packed in. And if you do, someone's always there to give you a hand, and they lift you up, and everyone's cool. It looks a lot more vicious from the outside. But yeah, so crowd surf for the first time. Just proud of that. May sound kind of lame. I don't know why I'm telling my phone this and whoever's listening. But yeah, so straight over the barriers, and obviously security take you to the side. But it was awesome because there was literally some guy with long hair at the side of the stage who, sorry, random finger moving in. Uh, yeah, who just handed me a beer. He had a full beer. He's like, "Hey, have a beer." And then ev- I feel like I started a trend. It was hashtag trending. So everyone was then crowd surfing, and security were outnumbered, and people were being carried out. But yeah. So music. Uh, what music will I listen to when I work is what I promised I would talk about, and I'm really skipping the point. I want to keep these things short. Like I listened to the last one, it was over 10 minutes. I'm like, people are losing interest now. I'm going to keep them all under 5 minutes after this one. Pinky swear. But yeah, so I have read some studies on what you should listen to when you're working. Uh, Personally, when I'm learning something new, or if I'm in sort of an academic setting and I'm revising, silence. Silence is the best for me. Uh, if I'm working at my computer and I'm doing something like coding and I'm learning a new principle, silence. Once I've got it and I'm just sort of going through the motions, then I will listen to something very, very no, what's the word? No vocals. It will all be instruments. I will listen to anything and everything. I used to be all about like rock and punk rock. I grew up like, yeah, pop music originally, obviously. My first album was What's a Story, Morning Glory, by Oasis, and also the Smurfs Go Pop. I bought them both on the same day from WA Smiths. And now I own two Oasis albums and four Smurfs albums. For anyone that's interested, Smurfs Go Pop, Smurfs Go Pop Again, Smurf Hits 97, and Smurfs Christmas. But yeah, I digress. So, no lyrics. I'll listen to anything. I was very, very rock orientated at the age of like 16 because my dad was into that. He had like Black Sabbath on vinyl and things like that. And we'd go fishing, me and my brother, and he'd have like Led Zeppelin on, or we used to love listening to Bob Marley, so a bit of reggae, but anything like that. And then I sort of steered away from pop music to like the age of 18, 19, came back, and there's a summer job from uni. Uh, Ended up working in a club, which opened me up to like everything. So club music, hip hop, everything. I will listen to anything and everything other than dubstep. I do not do dubstep. That's like the one rule. I mean, I'd like to be challenged on that. If you can send over some dubstep that I actually like, maybe. But to me, it sounds like a factory. So I steer clear. I steer clear of dubstep. But yeah, so I guess when I'm cutting away, I will listen to something without lyrics. So Ionardi is like classical music. I love listening to Ionardi uh, when I'm just sort of, I don't know, doing something quite basic. So editing a page or adding some tags or something like that. It's sort of a composer. He's modern classical. Shout out to Ionardi. Uh, Yeah, and I also own like some classic FM random compilations, and I'll put them on. And then if I'm just sort of photoshopping some images, then I'll put yeah, something with lyrics on because it's taking less concentration. Uh, so maybe some Nora Jones. I love a. I actually love a DVD. I'm still in that mind frame of I will have physical music and I'll put a DVD on. So I'll put Nora Jones on or something quite chilled, and I just like to look up from the screen and see it on the look up from one screen to look at another, see it on the TV, and kind of relates to what I was talking to earlier. Actually, I've got Nora Jones in New Orleans, and she's like not wearing makeup at all, and it's really cool just to see her. I think is it the House of Blues, possibly. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. But yeah, she's just playing away, and I love that concert. But then it can go all the way up to I listen to Chili Peppers, Metallica, yeah, anything, all the way to. If anyone's listening to this outside of the northwest of the UK, you probably won't get what Wig and Pear is, but I will listen to that, and it's like really high energy. I've kind of learned to figure out my own rhythms. So if it gets to like seven, I don't drink caffeine after like 6 o'clock. So I'm decaf all the way after six. Uh, but yeah, I've kind of learned how to regulate my mood and things. So after 6 p.m., no caffeine. But if I've not got work the next day, then I know that 8 o'clock, big mug of like tea and a bit of wig and pear will pick me up. That'll take me through to 10, and then some chill out sessions. But I'm going into way too much detail. Then nobody asked for this. Nobody asked for this. If you're still watching into like what are we on now, 13 minutes, excellent. I'll try and keep it work related next time, because yeah. Anywho's, see you soon.